Hi, I'm Reverend G, minister at the Unitarian Universalist Community Church in Portage, Michigan. Dr. Charlet asked me to share with you anything that might inspire me in these treacherous days that we are living through. I have to tell you, a lot of things concern me, and then there are some things that inspire me. And today, obviously, I want to talk to you about that which inspires me. And in order to do that, I will talk to you about nationalism versus patriotism. And I know that they sound an awful lot similar, but in results, in what the future brings about, if you practice either or, the future looks very, very different. In 2005, psychologists conducted a study. They hooked British soccer fans to heart rate monitors. And when their team scored, their heart rates spiked. But wait, when the opposing team lost, their heart rates spiked even more. And that is the strange math of nationalism. It is not about loving us. It is about hating them. Patriotism is very different. I would describe patriotism as love with responsibility and love with accountability. The four most important words in any language are I might be wrong. Nationalists can never utter those words. Patriots must. Here is the difference between patriots and nationalists. Patriots. Throughout our history, we had been hardwired for tribalism. For the longest time of our history, humanity lived in small tribes. Some were as large as 100 or 150, but not significantly larger than that. That meant that everybody knew everybody. Everybody knew the needs of everybody. Everybody knew the problems of everybody and the joys of everybody. But then, we humans decided to create a totally different form of living, and we created nations. Now, tens of thousands of people, millions of people, lived within the borders of a country, which meant that we no longer know each other. Yet, we care for each other. A patriot will gladly pay taxes, so a person in Texas, whom they will probably never ever meet, can have health care, can have quality education, can have good roads, safe roads to drive on, infrastructure. A patriot will do that. A patriot will also acknowledge the past. A patriot will say our story is not done yet. Our story, the past, contains some ugliness. We've done some things that nobody can be proud of, and we wish to heal that and then move on and create a story that it is so much better, so much more inclusive than the one we come from. In 1776, our founding fathers said that all men are created equal. They felt so good about this. They felt that they were so enlightened when they proclaimed that. Yet, they excluded slaves, women, and the indigenous. Today, the story is still undone. We want to exclude the transgender people, LGBTQI plus people, immigrants for sure. We always want to find a group that we can pick on. And when we do that, we become nationalists. Patriots expand the circle. Nationalists limit it, shrink it. Patriots love with open hearts, while nationalists extend a fist to you. Patriots care, love, with accountability and responsibility. Nationalists require complete obedience and loyalty. In fact, if you question a nationalist, if you dare question a nationalist, they will call you a traitor. A patriot will question, because a patriot so loves the country that it wants to change it for the better. There is a huge difference. During the civil rights movement, those who walked in Selma were patriots of the highest, best kind. They so loved this country that they called upon it to live up to its ideals. Nationalists, on the other hand, live and create an attachment to some past nostalgia that never existed, yet they want to recreate it here today. How can that be possible when it never existed? A patriot looks at the past, acknowledges it, wants to heal it. A nationalist will not talk about it. If it's ugly, if it reflects badly upon the nation, we will just tear those pages out of the books of history. There is a difference between patriots and nationalists. And this is what inspires me, that I do believe that this country has more patriots, true patriots, than nationalists. So today, here and now, I reclaim patriotism. Patriotism is us. Patriots are us. Those of us who are willing to look at the good, at the bad, at the ugly, and then create a story and live up to the ideals that this country has often wanted to and tried to. And maybe our story has to change. Perhaps we have to say that human wellness and success is no longer measured in GDP and bank accounts, large or small bank accounts, but it is measured in access to free healthcare, to free quality education, to dignity, to equality and inclusion. We must expand the circle. Theodore Parker, Unitarian Universalist minister, said, and Martin Luther King Jr. is known to have quoted him, that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it tends towards justice. But we must bend it together. It is my hope and wish that we shall hold hands, not because we are so alike, but because we can put aside our differences. Not because we are so alike, but because we can love so much that we want to heal this nation, reclaim our democracy, and create a future that we can be proud of and that brings us closer to our ideals of inclusion, dignity, and equality. So let us bend that arm together. And so it is. Allow me to share just another story that inspires me and that carries a lesson for me that is really deep, that is really significant as far as I am concerned. Let me give you a little bit of historical background. So we're looking at the Second World War, Europe, and the Allies are fighting hard to liberate the whole of Europe. And the Western Allies are coming from the West, while the Soviets are fighting from the East. And they are merging and they're coming together and they're meeting in Berlin. And the part of Berlin that was liberated by the Western Allies became part of Western Germany, and the eastern part of Berlin that was liberated by the Soviets became part of Eastern Germany. The really significant thing about this is that the parts that the Soviets liberated became part of the communist bloc. which was characterized by nationalism, authoritarianism, dictatorships. The western part of Europe became functional democracy. They were liberated by the Western allies. So after the communists built a wall, the Russians built a wall between Eastern and Western Germany. And that wall was infamous. And I remember, I've been to Berlin, I've seen the wall. It was ominous, and you couldn't see through it or above it, and you just knew that freedom was on the other side. I was on the eastern side because I grew up in communist Romania. And so I saw Eastern Germany while it was still Eastern Germany. And in 1988, I believe, the wall came down. Remember when President Reagan famously told President Gorbachev, "Mr. Gorbachev, bring down that wall." So the wall came down. And after that, children on both sides, on the eastern side of Berlin and on the western side of Berlin, were studied by psychologists. They had to draw the wall. The eastern children drew it as a big, nasty monster. The western children drew it as barely noticeable. Because you see, nationalism needs walls. Walls to separate, to seclude, and to subjugate. But real patriots look beyond walls. Real patriots take down walls and expand the circle of inclusion. May we be the ones who remove the walls of separation and authoritarianism. And so it is.